Hey, what's up, guys? It's Gabe with Nerd Tech, and I'm in my demo account here I use for my real estate business. And I wanted to just show you how easily it is to bring in leads to the system. I have a lot of businesses that reach out and they say, "Hey, I love your videos. I love the GoHighLevel CRM. It seems like it's what I need, but how do we get the leads to start coming in so that we can start doing the automation, so that we can start building the pipelines, the stages, and start making it actually work in here?" So the two main ways I tell people is number one, GoHighLevel has a beautiful phone system integrated built in. I did another video on that phone system. So when you purchase a phone number and somebody calls that phone number, you can actually set up an automation to tag those contacts, and you can have multiple phone numbers on different sources. For instance, in my real estate business, we do postcards. So if I put a phone number on a postcard and it comes in, I can tag it that it came from a postcard. If they call my website, I can tag it that it calls a website. If you had a billboard, you could tag it that it came in from a billboard. So you could track all these different sources. When somebody does call that phone number, it automatically creates a contact with that phone number. Obviously, it's not going to know their name. So once you answer the phone, get off with them, you'll want to save the name, but the contact's already going to be created here in the contact section. These are just my demo contacts here. And then place a name, and boom, your contacts are being created. We can auto tag it to make sure we know where it came from. And then you can start sending it to your pipeline stages so you can work them if it's a lead or through your sales process. The second biggest way to get leads in here is through a form. You could be sending emails where they have to fill out a form. It could be a form from your website. It could be a form from Facebook ads, Google ads, any ways online where they can just type in their information. Maybe you're doing some advertising. Click here for a free demo. Click here for a free consultation. They add their information. Boom, as soon as they click submit, it's going to put in all their information, add them as a contact right here. On form submit is a trigger in our automations that we can trigger automations to happen. So again, you can tag them to know where they came from. You can send them an automated text message, put them into your pipelines and start working them as well. So phone and form are two of the biggest ways I see people get contacts into the system. You can also do a manual import. There's an import button if you already have lists and you want to get lists into the system. That's another way. But what I'm going to show you here is, since forms is probably the number one next to phone, I'm going to show you real quickly just how that would work. Since the forms is built right in, you just click on the button sites over here, and then we have forms and surveys. Now, forms is your typical form where you have all the fields. You just can scroll, you can fill out all the fields, click submit. Surveys is just a fancy word for a form, but instead of having everything on one page, it lets you break it up. So for instance, imagine it says enter your name and you put John Smith, click next. Enter your occupation, click next. So surveys just breaks it up into different screens so that it's not one long form. If your form is super long, it's better to just create a survey so it breaks it up so that the customer experience is just a bit nicer. It doesn't look overwhelming looking at all these fields to fill out. So that's the difference between forms and surveys, but essentially they're both forms. So if we click into forms here, and here's just an example form I have for my real estate business. If a buyer was interested in wanting to receive some of our deals, they could fill out their information here. And here's an example of a long form. I could break this up into two sections, put it on a survey where maybe they fill out their contact information here. And then the next page would be their buying criteria of what they're looking for. And then they click submit. On this example, I just have it all in one form. These fields are mapped directly to the CRM part of GoHighLevel. So since forms is built in and it's part of GoHighLevel, it's not external. That means we don't have to create these fields and then have an automation that says send it to GoHighLevel. Once we create these fields, it's going to automatically send it to GoHighLevel because it's built all in. So some people come to me and they say, how do I get this on my website so that I can replace my existing forms? I can put GoHighLevel's form on there and get those people to come into the system so I can start working them in the pipelines and stages. It's super easy. You just create the form, drag and drop the fields. You have your fields over here, your custom fields. So if you create custom fields inside the CRM that you've created, which I've done another video on that as well. You can find them right here. You can drag and drop them over. You can also create a field by just clicking add, and you can create it on the fly if you haven't already created it yet. But this builds that field into the contact. It's always going to be there once you create it. or if you've created ahead of time. And then once you drag it over here, it's going to automatically push that data. It's going to create the contact, and then you can start doing the automations. And to get this onto your website, you just go to integrate. You're going to click on copy embed code, and it's going to be some HTML code that you go into your website, you take out your form, you put in this code, it's going to embed this form, and then boom, it's going to seamlessly bring your leads directly into your GoHighLevel account. If you don't know where to embed the code or need help with that, anybody who works on your website or helped you build it will be able to easily add that code. So you'll just copy that, give that to them, and say, hey, I want to replace this form with my old form. And then you'll immediately start seeing that when people fill out the form, your contacts are going to start being populated here in the contacts. And then what I do is whenever somebody fills out a form, I create an automation that automatically sends them to an opportunity pipeline stage called new lead. And then this is a task for me to be able to either call them back, or they could land here. I can send an automated text saying I got their form. When's a good time to call? Sky's unlimited once you start getting, or the possibilities are unlimited when you start getting leads to come into the system, and you can start doing automations to them. So forms, phone numbers, bulk import. There's probably some other ways I'm missing, but I just wanted to just quickly name off a few of the big ones where a lot of people come to me and ask, how do I do that? So if you need help with this, or you want a GoHighLevel account with my premium support, you can visit my website, www.nerdtech.ai. I give you a cheaper GoHighLevel account than if you go direct, and premium support. Also give you some free automations that I think everybody should have, just general automations that every account should have also. So have a good week, guys. Hope this helps. Take care.